Stacy, welcome to the podcast booth. Tell me who you are and what you're all about.
Hi, Tom. Well, I'm with Commodity Resource and Environmental. I've been with the company around 30 years.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm dating myself there.
Yeah.
But I'm president, and the company's been in business for 45 years, which milestone, I guess. We do recycling and refining are our core businesses.
Recycling and refining. So, like in everything, or what's like by recycling? When somebody says recycling, you think, oh, there's all this stuff. But what do you recycle?
Our core business is silver refining.
Silver.
And the bulk of that is medical x-ray film. So you might think, why are you here at iSigma? Why are you involved with NAID? How did you become NAID certified? Well, the answer to that is we got into NAID because of medical x-ray film. HIPAA laws were changing, and you had to handle patient jacket files appropriately.
Right.
And that's how we became a member of NAID in 2006, I believe. In 2010, we started the process to become certified, and early 2011, we became certified. Fun fact, other people here, Ray Berry, who everybody knows and loves, with his partner at the time, Nick, came out and we hired them to do a private training for our whole group to get us up to speed, all our drivers, all our staff. And to this day, it was one of the most fun experiences we ever had. We just rented a room at a hotel and brought everybody in. And
yeah. So you've been doing this a long time. So
yeah.
So you're kind of an interesting case study because you have a booth at the trade show, and yet you also do the services to your community, right? You're in
Correct.
LA, you're in Long Beach,
right.
LA area?
Our company is based out of Burbank, California.
Yep.
Our plant, we're a plant-based shredder and recycler. All of that is in Mojave, California.
Oh, okay.
And we also have a district office over in Phoenix.
Oh, okay. So, but the silver part is essentially why you're here as a vendor at the trade show.
Correct, because one of the questions people might ask is, where do you find silver these days?
Yeah.
Well, other than a mine, it's recycled. So medical x-ray film, again, a lot of the people who attend here are record storage companies.
Right.
And a lot of, you don't see a lot of medical x-ray film at a medical office or even a hospital level anymore. That started changing in 2000. It started going digital.
Right.
Well, where is it? Archives.
Right, because they had to hold it for 15, sometimes 18 years.
There's a retention period.
Yeah.
Most film is at 7 years, but mammography and pediatrics, those are all 10 years, and then some hold it even longer.
Right.
For children, pediatrics, it's the age of retention. So they have to be 18 before it can be released.
So how do you work with partners? So the average person walking the hallways here is a shred operator, a record storage operator. How do you work with partners? Are you looking for them to call you and say, hey, I've found 200 boxes of x-ray film? Is that kind of how it works?
Right. Well, we belong, of course, to associations, and then, of course, Google Ads, because how does anybody do anything now? The internet.
Right.
So if they're looking for someone to recycle their x-ray film, they Google it, and we advertise and spend ad dollars with Google Ads.
But the person walking around here, that's essentially what you're doing here, is trying to let them know that you exist in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if they come across that much film as a shredder and somebody says, what do I do with this film? The goal is to call you. That's essentially what you're trying to accomplish.
The goal.
Okay.
And we are a plant-based shredder, as I said, too, so they know that their records are being shredded appropriately. As I mentioned earlier, we are NAID certified. There's only 2 refiners in the whole country that are NAID certified.
Interesting.
So for people who belong to this organization, most of them are very concerned that their material is being handled appropriately.
Yeah. So in a weird way, like I've never, despite the fact that I've known you for years, I don't know how, like when you get film, you talked about shredding equipment, but when you get film, does it go through a unique process that you're stripping the silver out of? Like, how do you get the silver off of a film?
It goes through tanks, and the emulsion it falls to the bottom, and when the film comes out, it's clear. The film is chopped up into tiny little pieces. At that point, it's clear, and it's polyester fiber filaments, and it goes one direction, and it's recycled. Gets turned into pet beds. We sell it. It's called PET film at that point.
Okay.
And it gets sold, and it gets turned into something else.
Usually, and then you take the silver, right? The silver, then you extract, and then
And then it gets dried out, and it goes through many other processes.
And do you have all those processes such that
Yes.
you have like silver?
Yes.
Silver chunks at the end. What do you?
BBs. It's called shot. It gets turned into shot, and then we broker it off to a trader that buys it, and then it gets turned back into. It gets sold back into either the jewelry business or solar voltaic, solar people buy it because silver is a good conductor.
Right.
And so those people buy it. And if it's in smaller little BB size, it's easier for them to use it in their prospective industries.
So when it leaves your plant, it's in that format.
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
That is correct.
So that to me is kind of interesting because I've never, I think in my head, I think when you think about silver, you think about a silver coin, obviously silver jewelry.
And we do make those. We do.
You make them?
We have silver coins.
Okay.
But another thing that many members may not be aware of is you can buy bars and or coins from us in lieu of a check if you want to. Mainly only private owners do that, not necessarily corporations.
Right.
We also have a thing called a pool account where you essentially were like your bank holding the money, holding your silver. Maybe you've got 1,000 ounces in your pool account and you're awaiting a more favorable market. So say the market's $29 today, but next week it shoots up to 40. You call in and say, sell my account.
So you actually in a way serve as is that called a broker? Like
a little bit.
Ish?
Yes.
Okay.
A little
Interesting.
bit.
So the one thing I would be knowing I was going to talk to you today, I went and looked at silver price over the last year is
volatile,
but it's risen generally speaking. A year
Correct.
ago at the conference, we're about like $10 more an ounce right now than we were a year ago.
Correct. The market has gone up since COVID. I mean, when COVID first hit in March 2020, it went down to $14 an ounce. Here we are 5 years later, and the silver market is approximately 30 right now. And 3-4 days ago, last week, it was at 34.
Right.
But as you know, with the current situation politically,
everything's volatile.
Everything's volatile.
Yes.
And usually when the stock market's not doing well, commodities go up. I don't know what to say. Right now, even commodities are volatile.
There's no way of predicting anything at this point in time. So, as somebody who runs this kind of company, and I'm talking specifically the silver side, where do you see, because you said there's not many X-ray films left in hospitals anymore. Is there silver in a lot of other places that you see a future with, or is it as X-rays keep declining, as the X-ray film keeps declining, where else do you get silver? Like, where else are you extracting silver from?
Well, it's not just this type of industry, but the photographic industry, litho industry. There's lithographic film out there as well. And then there's the photo industry, which still uses wet process. And we sell equipment that refines that extracts the silver from the effluent, from bleach fix.
Oh, interesting.
So that's another area, but it has nothing to do with this group.
Right, but that's always something to me that's like, as we think about the paper industry, we go, well, paper's starting to peak, it feels like, but there's still tons of years in this.
Yeah.
It's just, and I was thinking about it today, when you have limited X-rays, if that's a major channel, there's obviously other channels that you're thinking for the future, given your kind of equipment and what you do.
Right. There are other channels, but it just doesn't have anything to do with NAID or I Sigma. And we recycle, a program called single-use cameras, the one-time use cameras, and
Oh, interesting.
Fuji buys them back. They're used, but they buy the housing back, and
So you do all kinds of interesting things.
that's why I said we're recycling and
Yeah.
refining,
Re-
because
okay.
even though the silver is kind of our core industry, we recycle a lot of things. Paper's one of them, and that comes off the film. So you've got the PET plastic, which gets sold off.
Yeah.
You've got the paper, which goes another direction, and it's a commodity. And then you've got the silver itself.
But I feel like what's really cool about your particular type of recycling and refinement is you're not the big, messy, thing that has like stacks of cardboard outside. Like it seems like a sexy kind of recycling, or no?
I don't know if recycling is
No, but
sexy.
when you think about a recycling, like I've been in many recycling centers, and they're big and they're loud and it just sounds like you're taking smaller stuff, doing really interesting stuff, and then outputting silver and other cool things. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just sounds cool to me.
Yeah. Well, it is nice because it ultimately, all of these things have value.
Right.
And here we are living in this age and era. Everything's about being green. Well, there's nothing more green than what we do at this show. All of us here.
Yeah.
It's very green.
Yeah.
And of course, security is important here too.
Right. So what are you most excited about as you look into the future? What's exciting you about the industry, about your industry, about what you're doing? Where do you see this all going?
Well, we keep finding new things to recycle, or we keep finding things that we can take it to another level of recycling.
Okay.
And that's what's exciting about it. I think the reason that people come to these shows in the first place, in addition to getting business, is networking. It's the one opportunity per year that you have to meet and greet with your current accounts.
Yeah.
Some of them are very large volume accounts, but we don't see each other face to face anymore,
Right.
other than this show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's, I think, probably the number one reason, right next to getting new accounts, as to why people come here.
Yeah. Connection. Deep
Connection.
Yeah.
Why do you come here every year, Tom?
Well,
Same thing.
same thing. It's the real true reason of it. So.
Yeah.
Well, Stacy, this has been delightful. Thank you for sharing a little bit about what you're doing and where you're going. And
Thank you.
And I always learn something when I talk to you. So thank you again for teaching me something about silver and all that cool stuff. So
Thank you, Tom.